This episode is brought to you by Strength Portal. You need a single software platform that enables your trainers to deliver consistent, high-quality workouts, track client progress, and scale your business. The problem is you're still using pen and paper or basic spreadsheets to run your business, which leads to poor client experiences, inaccurate tracking, and prevents you from growing your business, making you feel frustrated. Strength Portal understand your challenge and have worked closely with the HIIT industry to create a software platform to manage and scale your niche business. You can integrate with MindBody, manage a standardized exercise and workout library for your team, track workouts effectively, and produce client reports at the click of a button. Strength Portal is used by multiple businesses in the high-intensity strength training community, namely Discover Strength, Smart Strength Austin, MedX Precision Fitness, and more. Starting with Strength Portal is super simple. Number 1, sign up for the best package for your business. Number 2, let Strength Portal take the load off and help onboard your business onto the platform. And number 3, start delivering consistent workout experiences and scale your business to the next level. To help support the podcast, please go to strengthportal.com/high intensity business and sign up now so you can stop feeling frustrated about your business and start to scale your business to its true potential. Go to strengthportal.com/high intensity business. Lawrence Neal here. Welcome back to High Intensity Business, the podcast where we discuss high intensity strength training and provide you with tools, tactics, and strategies to grow your strength training business when I'm not tongue-tied and can't pronounce my words. This is episode 380 and part 10 of the High Intensity Training Fundamentals series with Tim Ryan. Today, we're going to kick off with exercise versus recreation. And if we get there, we're planning on talking about fat loss principles, ideal exercise environment, some other things which I doubt we'll get to, but we will in future episodes. Obviously, today's guest is Tim Ryan. Tim is a master super slow instructor and owner of Strong Life Personal Training in Barrington, Illinois. You can contact him to learn all about his services to studio owners and personal trainers, including workshops, mentoring, and seminars by going to his website, stronglifetraining.com, or emailing Tim direct to info@stronglifetraining.com. Tim, great to have you back on the podcast, as always.
Hi, Lawrence. Glad to be here.
Awesome. So let's go. Distinctions. What's the difference then between exercise and recreation?
Well, there's a lot of differences, and I should preface this whole conversation by saying that most of the work on this topic was done by Ken Hutchins. And Ken originally kind of fleshed out this concept. I don't know, gosh, it's probably been 30 years ago or more. A lot of this material originally appeared in one of the later editions of Ellington Darden's The Nautilus book, where there was a couple chapters about this. And, even then, Dr. Darden gave Ken a lot of the credit for those chapters and things. And then Ken later wrote about it in the Super Slow Technical Manual, second edition. So at any rate, the importance of this topic, it comes from a couple of different areas. And one would be simply that many people often choose as exercise different types of activities that are not necessarily real productive exercise. They waste time on activities thinking they're going to get some sort of benefit from them when the activities they're choosing can't deliver the benefits that they think they will get. And some of this confusion comes from, the government and the various different health authorities and from the media. And, it's been promoted for years that you just need to get out there and move. You just need to accumulate 30 minutes of activity a day, and that you should, kind of lead you to believe that any activity you're doing where you're moving your body, that's exercise. And you hear these concepts that you should choose exercises that you enjoy. and this kind of a concept where people are led to believe that they can do anything and everything as long as they're moving or as long as they're sweating or something of that nature. And there's really this confusion between what is real productive exercise and what is exercise that can really deliver a full range of benefits versus what is really, technically speaking, recreation. Okay. And it goes beyond just those issues with the general public, because it kind of applies to research as well, because oftentimes you'll see research and they'll claim that they're studying exercise, the effects of exercise on such and such a, physiological response or effect or result or whatnot. And oftentimes you'll read the study and you'll find out, well, what they're calling exercise is merely walking, or something like that. And then they'll reach conclusions that exercise can or can't do this, that, or the other thing, when they're not really even studying real exercise. They're just studying, various physical activity. So it's important, even in the research realm, to have a clear understanding of what exercise is. And, so Ken developed these concepts, the differences between exercise and recreation, to sort of highlight and help people understand what real exercise is and what they should be doing to achieve the benefits of that real exercise. So Ken laid out a number of different distinctions between exercise and recreation. And as I said, kind of wrote about these in both the Super Slow Technical Manual and L. Darden's Nautilus book. So if we kind of go through what these distinctions are, this will help us kind of understand, those differences. So first off, exercise is logical, okay, where recreation is instinctive. And what this means is that exercise is based on sort of a logical strategy to, intervene and stimulate the body to produce physical adaptations and physical improvements. And it's based on, logical principles of physiology and science and biology and physics and, these types of disciplines, and sort of deriving principles from those disciplines to apply the exercise in a straightforward fashion and in a productive fashion to stimulate the body and produce those changes. Where the difference with recreation is sort of an instinctive thing that we do based on our own, personal desires and things that entertain us and things that interest us and so forth. So that would be the first distinction. And then the second distinction is that exercise is universal for all human beings, all right? Because all human beings share the same general physiology and biology, and because physics is the same for everyone, and we all have the same anatomy and muscles and joint function and all of those types of things, exercise is universally applied to all human beings, where recreation is sort of a personal thing, okay? What I find enjoyable and pleasurable and interesting to do as recreation may not be what somebody else finds interesting. So there's no rule there. Is that, recreation the whole purpose of it is that we're doing it for fun and entertainment and maybe stress release and different things. So it's kind of personal to each individual. Some people may like to golf. Some people may like to play tennis. Some people may like to go for a walk or ride a bike, those types of things, where other people may like to, go play some other sport or go fishing or boating or, different things. So Um, with recreation, you're doing something that's personal to you that you find enjoyable and pleasurable, and as a diversion from the demands of life or whatnot. Where exercise is not involved with those kind of things. Exercise is applied universally, based on concrete principles in the sciences and anatomy and physiology and so forth. Um, and overall, exercise is physical, where even though recreation can be physical, that's not necessarily the purpose. I mean, exercise has to be physical because we're trying to train the muscles, we're trying to engage the muscle and joint function, we're trying to stimulate the physiology. Where with recreation, those are not the objective. Those may sometimes happen. In other words, you may fatigue your muscles doing various types of recreation, you may elevate your heart rate, you may get increased body temperature and sweat and so forth, but those things are not the objective. Those are just
like a byproduct.
They're just a byproduct of that. Okay. So another principle is exercise is general. It's applied across the board in terms of again, this universal principle to all human beings, and applied not with any specific sport in mind. We've talked about this in some of our other podcasts, that we should be training our physiology with not any specific regard to what we're going to do, because there's differences between skill acquisition and physical adaptations and stimulation. So we're not necessarily training specifically for any one specific sport. We're training to build the overall physiology and our muscular strength and endurance and so forth. Where with recreation, it's very specific. You're doing something according to those personal tastes, and you're doing something intentionally to pursue a certain activity that you enjoy and find pleasurable. And one of the big key things is that, performed properly, exercise is not generally considered fun. It's not performed for the purpose of fun. Okay. Now, I take a lot of personal satisfaction out of exercise. I look forward to my workouts.
It's all about the pump, right, Tim?
Yeah, right. Yeah. And, I just, I take a lot of satisfaction from that, but I wouldn't consider it fun while I'm doing it, to have, intense muscle tension and stress and, that burn and elevated heart rate and increased body temperature, all those things. Those are generally not considered, enjoyable things. But at the same time, there's a tremendous sense of satisfaction from having done it and, done it well and so forth. But the whole point of recreation is to have fun. If you're not having fun during your recreation, you should find something else to do, because the whole point of it is fun. Okay. You're going out and you're doing things to again, try to get away from the demands of life and the stresses of life, and to do something that you enjoy, and to spend your time doing something that's pleasurable and entertaining. So where we get problems is when people are led to believe that exercise should be fun, and do activities that you enjoy. Choose exercise that you enjoy. And if you're not having fun, if you're not enjoying it, then you shouldn't do it. And we see this in gyms and health clubs and different things around the world, where everything's designed to try to entertain people. Okay. And to do things that people find enjoyable, because of course we have a big problem that most of the population doesn't exercise, and they don't like to exercise. They don't find it fun. They don't find it pleasurable. They find it drudgery and things like that. So again, the health professionals are always trying to come up with ways of making exercise fun and making it entertaining and keep people engaged and try to get people to want to do it. So they're telling them that exercise should be fun, and they're designing things, whether it's with music or with, you know, entertainment with the televisions in the facilities and things like this, and different types of classes, and all of this is designed to try to come up with a way to make exercise entertaining and fun and to get people to do it. But in the process, they're destroying the value of exercise. Again, exercise is not designed to be fun, and it won't be fun if you're doing it correctly. It'll be very physically demanding and exhausting and fatiguing and so forth. So the problem you have is that if you make exercise fun, you destroy the value of the exercise. And if you're trying to turn your recreation into exercise, you're going to make your recreation not fun. So you end up sort of destroying the value of both. So Ken's whole point was that you need to understand the differences between exercise and recreation, pursue exercise, according to these principles of being applied according to the sciences and done according to the different principles of stimulating the body to produce changes and so forth, and derive the maximum benefit from your exercise. And then separately, independently from that, you pursue the recreation and the activities that you enjoy, that you find pleasurable, that you find entertaining for yourself. And those things are all just different for different people. So you don't try to turn recreation into exercise. You don't try to turn exercise into recreation. You keep them separate and you pursue them for their benefits. Okay. And it's just been so confused in the minds of the public. It's even so bad that people, believe that if they, are gardening in their backyard or they're mowing their lawn, that's exercise. Or, again, if they go for a casual bike ride, around the block, that's exercise and things. And they're led to believe that as long as they're moving, that's exercise. And consequently, if they think that kind of stuff is exercise and that's satisfying the body's requirements, then they're not going to pursue the things that are really, truly effective and beneficial, or they're not going to pursue them in a way that is physically demanding enough that they're going to really maximize the benefits, because let's face it, a high intensity strength training workout performed properly is very physically demanding, is very physically uncomfortable, and is not fun. So if people are led to believe that exercise should be fun, as soon as they're exposed to high intensity strength training performed correctly, they're going to be thinking this is nuts, that this is, that it's too much, that it, why does it have to be this hard? This is uncomfortable, and there's this constant battle between trying to get them to do it correctly with, those things that are in their mind, thinking that exercise should be fun and pleasurable. And, if the health authorities have told you that, choose exercises that are fun, and if it's not fun, choose something else that you do find fun. Okay, then who's going to find high intensity strength training fun?
Yeah. This is why the government recommendations in most countries for exercise is so problematic, as you've been saying, right? Like, oh yeah, get outside 30 minutes once a day and go for a walk or whatever it is. It's not that helpful. There's so many good takeaways from what you said, Tim. I understand why. I mean, I've had a few emails from listeners who have said, this series has become part of our curriculum in our business, for our new trainers and our existing trainers, because it's just so helpful to sequence it the way we have. And just some of the things you said just there, logical versus instinctive, and comparing exercise to recreation. And it's got me thinking a lot about how we can educate our own clients at Optima as well better on this stuff. Made a few notes here. I'm just thinking might play devil's advocate with you for a little bit here.
Okay.
I'm thinking about, the person that says, oh, well, actually I do I don't go to failure. I train with a high volume to make up for that high frequency. And I do actually enjoy my workouts. They are fun. What do you say to someone who says that, that pushes back against exercise being it's meant not to be fun, and that actually, you could argue that if you're compensating with volume and frequency, you're probably going to get the same result from strength training as if you train to failure when it's not very fun. So what do you say to that type of view on this?
So if I'm understanding your question correctly, so you're saying if somebody, thinks that, well, high intensity strength training to failure or whatever is just too intense and uncomfortable and it's not fun, and they, can't really get into doing that. And if instead they kind of do more volume, more sets, spend more time exercising.
This is the issue of Ken Hutchins' statement, is it's so black and white. And that's why it probably puts some people off, right? Yeah. Because I get it, like it makes sense, but like maybe there's some nuance, right? And there's some individuals, maybe it's a bit of a continuum. And there's some individuals who would say, no, I actually really like strength training, and my program is, 3 sets of 10, and I train 5 times a week, and, I've got great results from it. This episode is brought to you by Strength Portal. You need a software platform that enables you to track workouts, deliver consistent high-quality client experiences, and scale your business. The problem is you're still using pen and paper or basic spreadsheets to run your business, which leads to inconsistent workout experiences and stifles your business growth, making you feel frustrated. Strength Portal have worked closely with the HIIT industry to create a software platform to manage and scale your niche business. Strength Portal is used by multiple businesses in the high-intensity strength training community, namely Discover Strength, Smart Strength Austin, MedX Precision Fitness, and more. To help support the podcast, go to strengthportal.com/high-intensity business and sign up for your ideal package now. That's strengthportal.com/high-intensity business. And now back to the episode. Versus, and then obviously, we're not talking about, obviously, high-intensity training is so much more time efficient and valuable to people. And like you said, there's some people who don't work out because they're not even aware of this option. If they were aware of it and can implement it, then they do it because it's way more efficient and they'd save so much time and all of that. So does that make sense? What do you say to that?
Right. So I understand that. And, obviously we've kind of acknowledged the fact that, high intensity, one set to failure type of strength training is not the only way to get any results from strength training. That, many people around the world spend hours and hours in the gym, doing high volume training in multiple sets and whatnot, and they're not necessarily training to failure or working as intensely as we would do with our form of strength training. So there is that other alternate method that will produce results. So we would certainly acknowledge that will work. And even when we talk about a lot of the research that's been done comparing those two different methods, the general conclusions of most of the studies is that, multiple sets work, but one set to failure works, and they work about the same. You're going to get about the same results either way. Mm-hmm. So we're going to argue that our way is definitely more efficient. There's a higher return on your investment of time. You're getting more out of it in less time. We would argue that it's safer and so forth. I would also add to that there's sort of a lot of intangible benefits to this high intensity training that you wouldn't necessarily get with the lower intensity, high volume, multiple set, just the overall conditioning effect, the, sort of metabolic conditioning. Arthur Jones used to refer to metabolic conditioning, which would be not just, you've got sort of your low intensity, long duration, sort of going for a slow jog type of, kind of cardiovascular effect. You've got sort of the high intensity, all out to failure, that sort of anaerobic energy system, fatiguing, exhausting exercise. But Arthur kind of referred to this metabolic conditioning is that you develop the ability to work at a very high intensity and maintain that higher intensity for a longer duration, that there tends to be a mixture of benefit and conditioning benefit that allows you to push yourself and sustain those much higher intensities for a longer duration, and sort of a mixture of that. So at any rate, what I would say to the person is that certainly you could do that high volume if time is not an issue to you, if you really have the time to work out 6 or 8 hours a week in the gym, lifting weights. I'm not going to tell you that you can't get results doing that. I would maybe highlight the fact that that's going to be more wear and tear on your joints and your connective tissues, and just tend to be maybe problematic in the long term with that. Obviously, it would depend on how you're performing the exercise. Okay, so you could do high volume, but are you still using very relatively slow and controlled movements? Are you initiating the movement slowly, not to engage a lot of excessive force and momentum and things like that? So obviously there's other things that come into play, but let's say just theoretically,
I seem more or less consistent.
If somebody's doing high volume training, but they're training relatively slow and controlled, they're not jerking the weights and doing a lot of bad form and all that, slow and controlled. Okay, so in other words, you're minimizing the chance of injury and performing fairly strict repetitions and everything. And the only difference being is that, well, you're not pushing yourself quite as hard. You're not going to that full, failure on each set, and maybe stopping a couple reps short. Generally you could probably get results from that, and that would be fine. And if you were doing it in a safe manner, not getting injured, then it kind of comes down to whether that's how you want to spend your time doing it. And, I still think there's other benefits that aren't really reflected in the research, that, this high intensity training, the ability to endure this kind of intensity and discomfort translates into benefits in your life, that you become more able to do hard things in life. You become more able to handle physical pain. You are able to sustain, those higher levels of physical work and endure that type of stuff, even outside of the gym, just in your regular life. And it makes you sort of mentally harder, that you can handle these things. And when you're faced with challenges and stresses in your life, you're just more able to handle these things. So I think there's other benefits that go along with it that you might not get with those lower intensity, higher volume types of approaches. But we can't stop somebody from doing that if they've got the time and they want to do it, and that's what they want to pursue.
And they're typically 25 with no responsibilities, no mortgage, no kids, right? So we'll let them get away with that for now.
Right. And that's a good point, because what I would say is that those type of peoples, they tend to be the younger, unattached, don't have families, aren't as entrenched in their careers, don't own businesses, or have very, high stress jobs that demand a lot of time. So again, getting to more of our target clientele, our clientele don't want to spend their life in the gym, don't want to be there hours and hours each week doing stuff, don't have the time for that, have many other things going on in their life, whether it's their career, their family, kids, different things like that. So again, our target market is going to be more attractive to the fact that this doesn't take a lot of time, and that they can get a lot of benefit from it without spending their life in the gym.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I was just on Richard Chartrand's podcast on his YouTube channel. He's actually got a podcast host as well now, I think Buzzsprout or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, and we were just talking about, he was asking me obviously about, what do I think after interviewing 380 people on this topic, and that was a lot of fun. And I was saying to him that HIIT has been my savior following becoming a parent, because I mean, time has taken on a whole new meaning for me, in terms of just how time crunched I am now with two young kids. It's unbelievable. And so if I didn't know about HIIT, I didn't realize, wow, you could be so productive with 30 minutes of strength training or even 10 or 15 minutes a week. I might not have even bothered and would have turned into a fat slob and lost a lot of strength and muscle in the process,
Yeah.
And so I've been able to actually maintain pretty good, well, in my opinion, health and physique and strength throughout this whole time, maybe even improved a little bit.
One point I want to add into this is that talking about this exercise and recreation, if you think about this, if you do the strength training the way we do, once or twice a week, 20 to 30 minutes, an hour or less per week total time commitment, that frees you up to do recreation more to your liking. Okay. You've got a lot more time. It's like, okay, do this essential strength training, get the most out of it in the least amount of time. And now the rest of your week, do whatever you like. You've got more time for recreation when you do exercise according to, the high intensity method. Where if you're already spending, if you're going to the gym 4, 5, 6 days a week and you're in the gym an hour and a half, 2 hours, and you're doing all of this, that pretty much consumes you, that you don't have time for recreation. So another benefit of this would be it gives you more time in your life to do the things you really want to do and that you find pleasurable and enjoyable, and allows you to do that recreation that you get those mental benefits and fun benefits from. So
yeah. And just to back up what you were saying just now about you get better at doing hard things, you get better at tolerating discomfort, pain. I think that is evidence-based. There's actually research to show, I think it was Dr. James Steele that told me about this, is that there's research show that the more you expose yourself to this type of stimulus, the better you get at tolerating it. And it's so obvious, right? In our own experiences, like when you've been strength training for a while, you get way better at tolerating the discomfort. And when you have a layoff, have you ever found that, Tim? When you have like a time off, when you come back to it, you have to almost completely reacclimatize, if that's a word, to that discomfort. And at first it becomes very difficult. And then, or when you change a routine dramatically, for instance, I don't know if you've experienced that in your own training.
I've never taken such a long
I've never had a week off.
I've had a week off, or I've had a couple of weeks off, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But, I've never been away from it for a month or something, or a longer period of time, and then came back and re-engaged. I've kept very consistent, and any time that I've missed has been more intentional to, take a week or two off and, whatnot, just for the purpose of, getting a little extended recovery or whatever. But I do notice that if I've been away for a couple of weeks or something like that, when I come back, I will typically maybe drop the weights down a little bit and just kind of establish and re-engage, so that I don't come back at the same level and get so sore that I can't move the next day or something like that. But other than maybe just starting back a little bit lighter and having a couple of workouts where I'm ramping back up into it, I wouldn't say that I have to sort of relearn the ability to work intensely, but I do give my body just a little bit of a break-in period when I've been away for a couple of weeks, maybe.
Awesome. So shall we, actually, just one more thing I'll say on this, a little example, which illuminates some of the stuff you were saying. I remember being in, this was a couple of years ago now, being at a basketball practice, and I was sat there on the side. I was subbed off with another friend of mine, and we were talking about exercise and basketball and working out. And I sort of looked at him and I said, this isn't a workout for me. This is just fun. Like, this is just like, right. This is just fun and recreation and a stress relief, and I enjoy the skill and all the rest of it. And because I'm thinking, but then I'm thinking he's not going to understand what I'm saying, because most people, they're playing basketball for recreation, they're also seeing it as part of their exercise regime, right? Most people do, because they're not making this kind of logical distinction between exercise and recreation. And he sort of looked at me and said, "Oh yeah, me too. Yeah, this isn't my exercise." And I'm like, "I'm pretty sure you don't do anything else." I'm like, so that means you don't do it well. Obviously, there is an exercise effect from something like basketball, especially, but obviously it comes with all sorts of issues, and it's not optimal for that. But it was just interesting how, and I felt like he just said that because I said it, as opposed to, thinking through what was being said, if that makes sense. And I think I said to him, like, I strength trained, but then most people, when they hear you do strength training, they think that's incomplete, because they think, oh, well, you've got to do, aerobic activity, you've got to do running, you've got to do lots of things to have a complete exercise plan. But obviously what we try and do is educate people and say, hey, you know what, you're going to get most of the results, biggest bang for your buck from doing brief and frequent high intensity training. And obviously you and I debated a little bit about maybe there's my opinion was maybe there's some marginal benefit to other things, but for the most part, you're going to get it all from HIIT.
Yeah. And, we've really discussed that a lot, but I will kind of, in wrapping this up, I mean, we're not suggesting that you don't get any physical benefit from doing recreation. Okay. Certainly there are, depending on the type of recreation you're doing, there are maybe some physical benefits, or there is some sort of exercise effect that, and certainly if you're playing, full court basketball, running up and down the court, sprinting, jumping, doing all that stuff, you're certainly going to get some conditioning effect from that. But the point being made here is that that's not the point of the recreation. The point of the recreation is to have fun and to do things you enjoy and get mental release from, like you just said. So the fact that you happen to get a side effect of some physical benefits, that's great. Okay. But what we're saying is, if you want to maximize the physical benefit part of it, you have to do specifically exercise in a certain way and meet the demands of, the various principles of what's necessary to stimulate the body to produce those changes. And oftentimes that's going to end up not being fun and so forth. But there's a lot of benefits to recreation, and, obviously less so with the types of recreation that are less strenuous or less intense and so forth. Golf or something like that, you're not going to get much physical benefit from golf. But playing basketball fairly intensely and running up and down the court, you're going to get a lot more, physical conditioning effect from something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good point. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for clarifying that. I think that's just very useful to listeners. Tim, I was thinking maybe we wrap it up there, and then we actually give, fat loss entire next podcast, because, fat loss is going to need a bit more time. It's quite a big topic. So what do you think? Do you think we should wrap up there?
Yeah, that's probably fine, because I don't know if we have time to get into the, we start the fat loss thing, and that may take us a little longer than, 15 minutes that we've got left. So.
And then when we come to schedule it, and then we do what happened last time. How much did we talk about that particular topic? Do we need to talk about it a bit more? Oh, I can't remember. It's been too long. So I think just keep a clean stop and a clean start, and we'll do fat loss next time. Tim, awesome podcast. A little bit briefer this time, but I think that's fine. Easier for people to consume sometimes. Any final thoughts about, exercise versus recreation? Anything you feel like, and I love, by the way, that you've come prepared and got these, these bullets that you're following. It's so good. Or at least it looks like what you're doing, and I think that's great. But is there anything you wanted to say that you want to maybe elaborate on, or are you happy with what's been discussed?
I think as I'm looking at my notes here, I've got kind of a summary of the two different things. And what I would do is just kind of tie this all together and to wrap it up. Exercise is intentional muscular work performed in accordance with muscle and joint function, with the intention of challenging the body and stimulating physiological improvements and adaptations. Okay. In contrast, recreation is fun pastime activities that serve as entertainment and a diversion from the daily routine. though some recreational activities involve muscular work and physical movement, this is coincidental and not the goal. Okay. So I think that really, summarizes it. And just the point would be, separate your exercise and your recreation. Don't try to turn exercise into recreation. Don't turn recreation into exercise, because you're going to kind of spoil both of them. So, and I think a big key takeaway is that, the more effective and efficient you are with your exercise, then the better able you are to perform your recreation, just like the better able you are to participate in sports and different things like that. And the more time you have, so do your exercise. It's essential. It's necessary for the care and maintenance of your body, and particularly the anti-aging benefits and things like that. So do your exercise in a safe, productive way, get the maximum out of it. And then with the rest of your time, go out, have fun, do the things that you enjoy, choose the activities that you like to do, and have fun with it.
I love it. And that quote, was that Ken Hutchins quote you just read out there?
No, that was just something that I wrote to kind of summarize the basic concepts. Yeah.
Okay, because it sounds very similar, but I know there's a quote that a lot of our colleagues will have framed on the wall from Ken, I think, or is it Doug, or maybe Doug has it framed, has Ken's quote framed, but it's because he came up with this concept, right? I believe.
Yeah, I mean, it's Ken Hutchins. Ken Hutchins' concept. He did, most of the groundwork, thinking this stuff through and writing it up and so forth. So, I definitely give him credit. So, what I just kind of did is, take all that information and those principles and kind of summarize it.
Yeah. I'm not taking away from your original creation there, Tim.
No, that's fine.
Very similar.
That's fine, but so.
Awesome. All right, well, look, thank you so much for your time, Tim, as always. And what's the best way for people to find out more about you? For those who are interested, Tim, let me give a little bit of preamble for this. Tim is one of the most highly respected experts in high intensity training on the planet, and is a fantastic resource if you're looking to improve your personal training operation, your business, upskill your trainers, improve your equipment, and ultimately produce better results for your clients and help grow your business. So Tim's keen to expand his services, helping you with that kind of thing. So Tim, do you want to just maybe elaborate on that and then let people know how they can contact you?
Yeah. And, this just kind of all comes from the fact that over all the years of doing this, and the people that I've met and the people that I've worked with and different facility owners that I've come into contact with, I've just spent a lot of time mentoring and tutoring people and being asked to come in and do workshops and seminars and teach the staff of various facilities and things like that. And way back in the day when I was involved with the Super Slow Exercise Guild, I did a lot of not only that, but also administering the Super Slow certification exam and so forth. So even though that organization is no longer intact, it's just I've spent a lot of time over the years working with people and bringing instructors along and mentoring them, not only for myself in my own facilities as I would hire people, but friends and colleagues of mine would ask me to, assist with that with their staff a lot. So I'm offering those types of services. Anyone that's interested to, whether it be just have me come in and do, a workshop in their facility and do hands-on type of stuff with equipment, or go over principles and teach their staff, or whether that involves sending staff to me and maybe spending a day with me or a weekend or a couple of days during the week and going over things and shadowing and learning different things. I'm open to those types of things. So anybody that wants to contact me to get more information, going to the website of my business, stronglifetraining.com, and then there's contact, whether contact via email or the phone numbers listed there, and you can get in touch with me that way, and we can have a conversation about that.
Perfect. Yeah. Awesome. I mean, there's so little resources out there like yourself right now for this. I think it's a great opportunity. Tim, thanks again. And everyone listening, to find the blog post for this episode, as always, please go to highintensitybusiness.com and search episode 380. And until next time, thank you very much for listening. This episode is brought to you by Strength Portal. You need a single software platform that enables your trainers to deliver consistent, high-quality workouts, track client progress, and scale your business. The problem is you're still using pen and paper or basic spreadsheets to run your business, which leads to poor client experiences, inaccurate tracking, and prevents you from growing your business, making you feel frustrated. Strength Portal understand your challenge and have worked closely with the HIIT industry to create a software platform to manage and scale your niche business. You can integrate with MindBody, manage a standardized exercise and workout library for your team, track workouts effectively, and produce client reports at the click of a button. Strength Portal is used by multiple businesses in the high-intensity strength training community, namely Discover Strength, Smart Strength Austin, MedX Precision Fitness, and more. Starting with Strength Portal is super simple. Number 1, sign up for the best package for your business. Number 2, let Strength Portal take the load off and help onboard your business onto the platform. And number 3, start delivering consistent workout experiences and scale your business to the next level. To help support the podcast, please go to strengthportal.com/high intensity business and sign up now, so you can stop feeling frustrated about your business and start to scale your business to its true potential. Go to strengthportal.com/high intensity business.